Welcome to Everything EFL. My name's Erin O'Byrne, and I firmly believe that you as a teacher are special, amazing, creative and passionate. But it's very easy to get burnt out and overwhelmed. With my podcast and my teacher training, I aim to help you avoid burnout and cut down on your prep time so you can unleash your creativity and enjoy your work more mindfully. Are you ready? Let's go! Hello, you gorgeous teacher. How are you? If you're one of my lovely regular listeners, welcome back. If you're a brand new listener to Everything EFL podcast, you're most welcome. I hope you stick around. Today, I'm talking about something that's very near and dear to my heart. I do teacher training and I've noticed a few things, okay? And I think you are going to identify with quite a few of the things I'm saying, regardless of whether you're a mainstream school teacher, whether you work in a language school, whether you work for yourself. Hear me out here, okay? And let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. And let's see if I can give you a little bit of advice. By the end of this episode, I'm not promising to solve all your problems, but I'm just hoping to shift your mindset a little bit so that if you are in a bit of a funk, then maybe I can give you some food for thought, something to think about, and maybe you might be a little bit motivated to make some changes. So let's go, shall we? As teachers, I think you will agree, we are always very hard on ourselves. We feel the need to be this perfect teacher to deliver these perfect, outstanding lessons. And we often prep lessons unpaid, at weekends, in the evenings. We spend mental time and energy worrying about students. How many times have you gone home thinking about a particular student because maybe they didn't react very well, maybe I don't know, they just didn't seem very engaged in the lesson. There could be a million different things going on there. And this happens especially if the lesson didn't go quite as planned, which is inevitable, but we tend to forget that as well, don't we? If a student isn't happy, we spend more mental time and energy figuring out how to make them happy. We might spend even more time prepping then. Oh, what can I do differently this time? When we get sick, we feel guilty. We drag ourselves in when we should be sitting in bed recovering. And we're stressing about the fact that somebody else has to cover the class. And in my experience, and I don't know about you, but have you ever worked in a place that isn't particularly sympathetic to the fact you're not coming in? I actually worked for someone who would always say, call me by 1 o'clock this afternoon and tell me if you're coming in tomorrow. Well, yeah, I don't really know because it's only 1 o'clock and I feel the same as I did at 7 o'clock this morning. But the guilt is real. Teachers are often overwhelmed and burnt out. And what happens is we stop enjoying our jobs and we forget why we went into teaching in the first place. Some of us are living moment to moment just trying to get through the week and then it all starts again after probably not a very restful weekend. I believe this cycle has to stop. We have to break this cycle of overwhelm and burnout. Look, I know it's easier said than done and I'm not going to insult you by telling you I have all the answers. I don't. But it's time to put you first. So here's my quick list of advice and feel free to disagree or tell me if it's not possible. That's grand. I'm under no illusions this episode will change everything you do. But I really hope, as I said, it starts your mindset moving in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, we generally don't put our foot down enough. We say yes all the time and it just leads to exhaustion. Okay, so here are my top 6 tips. Just checking my notes there, guys. First one, recover. Don't feel guilty when you're sick. Do not go back to work until you feel better. Look, I know that your boss needs to find cover. Not your problem. My second tip, as Elsa said, let it go. Cut down on your prep time. See episode 85 if you want a bit more advice on that. Again, I know this is easier for far more experienced teachers, but as I've said before, and I'll say it again, ask yourself what is the worst thing that will happen if you don't plan down to the last minute. I'll tell you, nothing. You're just going to be winging it a little bit more. And guess what? That will actually, it'll get your adrenaline pumping. It will boost your creativity. Remember that thing? I honestly believe that a lot of overwhelmed teachers have just lost their creative spark and they need to find it again. And I believe that by winging it a little bit and experience those butterflies of not being 100% prepared, not only will it sort of like get your creativity to kick in again, but I just think it's a better way to teach. Again, feel free to disagree. Just my opinion. Thirdly, boundaries. It's okay to say no. If you're knackered and your boss says, can you just do one extra blah, 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 we don't have enough, blah, blah, blah. No, you can't. And again, it's not your fecking problem if there isn't enough staff or there aren't enough resources. So stop feeling guilty about the faults and the issues of the management. Stop feeling like you have to say yes to everything. Number 4, again, this isn't possible for everyone, but in a word, unions. Realise you're not the only one who feels like this, okay? If you are not particularly happy in your job, you want to stay there, but you want to change conditions, unionising is a very good way of doing that. If that isn't possible in your country or in your situation, can you get together with the others, start making a few demands? Sometimes, even in a crowded staff room, it's easy to feel alone and isolated. But I think a lot, if most teachers feel the same, lean on each other for support, even if that's the absolute minimum you can do in your situation. And I would say also, I've been in staff rooms where it's just constant negativity and bitching, and that is just a cycle that perpetuates itself. So I don't know, is it possible to sit around and have productive conversations instead of just complaining? Is there anything that you guys can do? Can you mobilise? Is the management doing the best they can to support you? Is there someone who might be reasonable? If not, are you in the right job? Number 5, change. If something in your class isn't working and it's making you miserable, the above points are important because you need headspace to think about how you might want to change that as well. It's difficult to spend your spare time, looking for alternative ideas, methodologies, doing webinars and masterclasses, except mine. Always do mine. But I know that teachers fundamentally love learning, but it's just a shame that, the job and the overwhelm sometimes prevents us from searching for different ways, especially if the current way isn't working. But let's say your class isn't responding well to the way you teach grammar. They groan every time you say the G word or open your book to Unit 5. Oh no, here we go again. Maybe you do need to change something. If your class is shy and just won't speak no matter what you do, no matter what great tasks you introduced, there is an issue that needs to be addressed. Once you spend a little bit of time, researching it, looking into it, trying new things, you might see a difference. There are so many useful videos that are short and manageable to watch about things like that, or mini courses that are less than a couple of hours, or master classes. Again, on a sort of a larger scale, is it possible to change your job? If not, again, I know it's easy, if you're in a rut, it is better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But if you can make changes yourself inside your job that can affect what happens in your class directly, then maybe you just need to find the space and the time to figure that out. Because at the end of the day, you know yourself, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Number 6, find your headspace. And I think this is the biggest one. We all have lives, kids, other halves, extra jobs, commitments. But can you find time and space every day or every few days or every week just for you? Okay? For me, it's watching RuPaul's Drag Race on a Sunday with my friend Sinead, who lives in Sicily. We do it over Zoom. Hi, Sinead. Even just staring out of my window, I'm lucky enough to live in the countryside. I just look out and there's green there. Or maybe inside, I have plants. I'm obsessed with growing plants and flowers. I just stare at my plants. I get so much joy out of that. Gym, a walk, yoga. Maybe you don't have the time. I know some of you are super busy. Can you find the time? 15 minutes every day, 30 minutes every day or every couple of days to clear your head and do something for you to be in the present. Again, this leads to more creativity as well. And this, like I said, creativity kind of stops dead with overwhelm. It happened to me last year. I do quite a lot on social media, and I was just churning out posts, and I started really not enjoying it, because it's like, for me, it's just deadens the soul. Just, you're posting stuff, you're writing things. It's a lot. Okay, so I've got someone to help me now with that, which is brilliant because it just means my creativity is flowing again. Now, I'm not saying you can get an assistant to help you with your lesson plans. All I'm doing is giving you examples from my life. And it's like everything, even with teaching, steal and adapt. Okay, so there are millions and millions and millions of ways to find your headspace, to be in the present, to help your mental health, your stress, your overwhelm. It's just a matter of finding what works for you, what you like, and also what works for your lifestyle and the time you actually have. So, look, I'm going to leave you with these thoughts, guys. If you are thinking of making a change, everything takes time, so please don't expect results straight away. Changing of attitudes and mindset takes time. Making a change in your teaching takes time. Making a change in your work-life balance takes time. Learning new skills takes time. Making big decisions takes time. So take small steps. Just try one little thing tomorrow, next week. See how you go. Don't feel you have to change everything immediately, because that's, again, will just lead to overwhelm. But I challenge you to make a change. Again, the key is finding what works for you. So keep trying new things. If you try something, you don't particularly like it, or you found you didn't have enough time, try something else. What suits you? Find the magic in small things and just take a little bit of joy and inspiration from that. If you don't have headspace, I challenge you, think really hard about making a change to create some. It is hard, but one thing I do know is if you're not happy, or you're feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, something has to change. You have to be the one to do it. So make a commitment to yourself. This is for your benefit and your mental health, your happiness and your creativity. So how will you do that? Okay, kids, I'm going to leave you with that food for thought. I would love to know if you have made any decisions or if you've got a bit of inspiration from this episode. Let me know. Contact me on the usual social media. Let me know. I love hearing from you. Anyway, until the next time, as always, guys, look after yourself. You're more important than your students. Don't tell them I said that. Share the love, guys. Share the love. Bye.